Alright, what's going on, guys? Fred back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video just answering a question, sort of. Yeah, kind of. People ask me all the time in my channel, should I pick up the Walking Dead comic book? So most of these people are probably people who watch the television show, watch the television series, and have never actually read the comics. And since we're coming into season 3 pretty soon of the Walking Dead television show, we're starting to get kind of a little bit further in the comic books, but still in comparison, the comic books are so far ahead of the television series. They're probably the equivalent of about season 10, maybe? I'd say probably season 10 because, let's see, we've had 2 seasons and we've really only been through 2 graphic novels of the comic book. And there are, let's see, 50 out now, 16 almost done real soon, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. So in terms of that, you're really 2/16 through the story at this point. So if you really want to experience The Walking Dead, you have to read the comic book. You have to. So should you? Absolutely, yes, you should. Especially now is a good time because it's summertime. If you don't have a lot to do or whatever, you have some time, or you know, the show's not actually on right now. So, obviously it's a good time to get into it and read it. And even if you don't like comic books, because I know a lot of people, they just, when it comes to comic books, they're like, I can't do it. I can't get into comic books. I just, for some reason, I don't know what it is about it. It just doesn't interest me at all. The Walking Dead, believe me, if you give it a try, will be your exception. I guarantee it. It is my favorite comic book of all time. It's the only comic book that I've actually bought every trade paperback for, and up to this point, am keeping on, and I'm going to be picking up all the trade paperbacks going forward of it. And those of you guys who just watch television shows, trade paperback is like this. Basically, this is what I would recommend as the best way to probably read the book. In terms of picking up the individual comics themselves, if you're going to buy it, that's sort of like an old way of doing things. Some people still collect every single issue of the comic book and try to keep them in mint and stuff like that. Some comic book collectors and stuff, but trade paperbacks are actually starting to take over the market, and these are basically a whole story arc of the comic book series. So, for example, you'd have to pick up 6 issues of the comic book to be able to pick up what's in this one trade paperback. And yeah, so this to me is the best way to buy it and the best way to read it. So look for the trade paperbacks. You can pick them up at most Chapters or bookstores, that kind of stuff. The one here in my city has all of them, literally all of them. It has, yeah, I think all the way up to from the oldest one to the newest trade paperback. And the good thing about this is that you can go ahead and read a whole story arc, and with a single issue of the comic book, a lot of times you'll be lost. You won't know what's happening, and it's not enough of the story to really get much from it. By one comic book issue itself, being as they're only like 20 pages or 20 something pages. But this, being as it's going to be 5 or 6 of them, is going to be like 100 to 120 pages or so each one. And there's quite a few out by now. I'll show you what I got. I'll do a video probably showing all of them at some point, more detail and talk about them a bunch. But this is what they look like. They're not in order, as you can see, and there are about 16 of them now. So, but this is, I think, probably the best way. And if I had to trade, like for example, if I had to say, well, which would I rather have, the Walking Dead TV show or the comic book series? Let's say in existence. Okay, so let's use a hypothetical. At this point, I'd have to go with the comic book because of how much further in the story it is. And the other thing about it is that the TV show has not hit the points in the comic book series that are the high peaks, okay, of the comic book series. It's just basically getting started. Like, it's only 2 of these, okay, and I'm actually missing number 15. I haven't bought it yet, but I've read it already, of course. And in terms of which one you should start with, you should probably start with number 2. Actually, my number 2 is over there. Trade paperback. You could start from number 1 and go through. You can also find these online. If you're not the type of person, if you don't have a lot of extra money or whatever, some people even upload them to YouTube, and issue 100 is coming out pretty soon. So, it's definitely a good read. When I first picked it up, when I first started reading it, I read every issue within, I think, about 2 or 3 days. I only slept like 4 hours because that's how into the story I was. And I've read a lot of comic books. Like, you guys know I'm a big fan of Batman and stuff and all that, but I can't just sit there and read like 100 issues of Batman. For some reason, I don't know, I can't. And every other comic series is like that too. The X-Men, you know, Avengers, everything. But The Walking Dead, I could sit there and just pick up the comic book and read it all the way through. And the high points of the series, probably, in case you're looking for that, if you just kind of want to pick up one or whatever, I would recommend Made to Suffer is the highlight probably of The Walking Dead so far. This trade paperback right here is probably the peak, the climax, the highest point, the most exciting point that the Walking Dead series, TV show or comic book has been to. And again, in the TV show, we're not there yet. We haven't even experienced that yet. So, in terms of people, asking, should I pick up the comic book? Absolutely, definitely do it. If you like the TV show, you will love the comic book. It's a different interpretation. It's not exactly the same. Certain characters live longer. Like, for example, Shane lived a lot longer in the television series. Dale lives a lot longer in the comic book. And other characters are different. The different things happen to them. And going forward, I'm sure it's going to be much more different as well. So it's a different interpretation. The comic book version's awesome, and the TV show version's awesome too. This one here as well is Here We Remain. And this is probably my favorite trade paperback of the whole series. Maybe my favorite ever. And I don't know why. The reason, as you see here, you've got Carl and Rick sort of alone by themselves. I just think it's interesting that, the whole time we've been through with these, they've been in a big group. And in this trade paperback right here, it is primarily them alone. They get separated. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they get separated from the rest of the group. And it's just really, to me, it's like a really exciting and interesting time to see them alone. And Rick also is sick in this issue, so Carl has to fend for himself in a zombie apocalypse. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, in terms of my answer to should you read the Walking Dead comic book, even if you don't like comic books, even if you don't, if you're not particular to reading them, absolutely you should. I think it's a no-brainer. If you like the television show, you'll love the comic book, regardless of whether or not you like comics. Me in particular, I'm not a big reader. Like, I love comic books, but with novels, I have trouble just sitting there and reading a whole novel. Number one, because it takes so long, and number two, because I'm very visual in the things I like to do. Everything is very visual with me. My intelligence type, I did an IQ test in like high school or something. It said that my intelligence type was a visual mathematician. So for me, I have to have the visual there. And I also think, I might piss off people by saying this, but I think novels is an outdated form of entertainment. I really believe that eventually it's just going to be, down, and, we're going to get to the point where, people just don't read at all anymore, at least novels, without any visuals. Now, I may be wrong in that. There may always be a place for that, but I just feel like, when you get the visual experience and also audio too, with a television series or, a movie and that kind of stuff, it's just stepping it up, further a level each time and getting the message across better, because you can't get the same message across in just words. There's too much, it's too open-ended. There's too much misinterpretation that could happen there, versus if you have a video with sound and everything like that, a movie, a television show, this kind of stuff, you can get the message across exactly how you intend it to be, which is completely different from a novel, which can be open-ended. For example, in a novel, you could have lots of characters, and you might not even have a very clear idea. The idea you have in your head of the character could be totally different from the idea that another reader has. Versus, like in a television series, everybody is very similar with their ideas, because you get to experience more. You get to hear them, see them characters, see the environments, all this kind of stuff. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit of a side topic, but when you're stepping down like that from the video format to like a comic book, at least you have the visuals. You obviously don't have the sound, and there's no color in The Walking Dead, but trust me, just for the story alone, and for what happens in the series, you'll thank me later. So should you pick it up? Should you read it? Absolutely. Even if you don't want to buy it, read it online. Do yourself a favor. If you have time, check it out. Read it all the way through. Don't skip. Start at the beginning. Start at either issue 1 or issue 6 or 7, trade paperback 2, that would be the equivalent of, and go on there all the way through to 100. I guarantee you, if you force yourself to read about 5 to 10 issues, you'll be hooked like that, guaranteed. Anyway, that's what this video, guys. See you for the next one later. Peace.